You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. By going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com, you can make this possible. All right, now let's talk about the issue that you're here for. Coming up is going to be the Multicultural Media Correspondents Association Dinner and Summit. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend because I'm here in New Orleans and talking to the Deltas tomorrow. Then I'm headed to the Bahamas to cover Bishop Neil Ellis's gathering conference. But this is an issue that when you look at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, guess what? It's pretty damn white. And you have serious diversity questions in media across this country, especially when it comes to folks who cover the White House and Capitol Hill. But not only that, Congresswoman Demings, you know, I'm the Vice President Digital for the National Association of Black Journalists. The Congressional Black Caucus joined with us in taking a CNN to task, specifically its CEO, Jeff Zucker, for having no black direct reports. He finally got the message and appointed a couple of folks, a senior vice president for diversity and inclusion, Janita Dew, as well as upgrading Marcus Mabry to vice president. But it is stunning to me that here we are in 2019, and we're having to have to yell, kick, and scream to get folks like Jeff Zucker to say, how is it you have no black direct reports, no black executive vice presidents, no black senior vice presidents, until now, no black vice presidents, no black executive producers?
Well, you know, the summit that we're having it's being kicked off with the dinner tonight. The summit tomorrow is all about increasing media diversity and making sure that America, the industry, and everybody who's not listening will listen and increase diversity. You all know there was a report that came out 50 years ago that said we needed to increase media diversity. Sadly, If you look at the numbers, they have not changed at all. Matter of fact,
and they're not going to change.
Like those newspapers and other media sources, outlets, are struggling to either stay in business or have gone out of business. As you well know, in the business that you've been in for so many years, how we tell the story matters. But more importantly, I think who tells the story. And so we are introducing legislation. We're introducing a resolution that will increase awareness, educate communities and the nation that, look, this is still a problem. We need to do better, and we're not going away.
Well, Congressman, I think, Congresswoman, the only way I think to get their attention, I think just like when, of course, there were some issues with CBS and black embeds. Congresswoman Maxine Waters called them to Capitol Hill to meet with her, and CBS executives did that. I think, frankly, the CBC and others need to call Jeff Zucker, CNN CEO, to Capitol Hill and say, explain yourself. Explain how you've been CEO of this network for 6 years and your hand was only forced in order to promote African Americans to senior level positions. I just think that shining a light in darkness is the only thing here. Because here's the piece, Congresswoman. You're right. I've been involved in media since I was 14 years old. And the thing is, nobody reports on media. And because of media will quickly, CNN will do stories talking about the lack of diversity in ad dollars being spent by the Democratic Party, or lack of diversity among the Republican National Committee, the lack of diversity among Democratic staffers, but they won't turn the lens on themselves. And I think that external forces like NABJ and Congress must hold them to task, and not just Jeff Zucker at CNN, but every single other network and media outlet, because Ashley does an annual media survey about diversity, and not even 20% of the nation's newspapers bother to fill out the diversity survey.
Well, and you're absolutely right. I mean, look, Congress, lawmakers, from the local up to the federal level, I think we all have a responsibility to make sure that we keep this topic open, but not only just talk about it, right? We want to see the numbers increase. We want to see action. Remembering the fact that media is responsible for 20% of the economy. And so it's not only about who tells the story, which is so very critical, that stories will be balanced and accurate, but it's also about economic development. And so our responsibility is to increase opportunities in this area. You're right. Congresswoman Waters was right on, spot on by going directly to the source. There's more that we need to do, and we will do it.
And I'll tell you this here, the other issue is now also in the digital space, because essentially what happened was the lack of diversity that we saw in television, in newspapers, in magazines, and in radio. Then when digital blew up, guess what? They hired the same people who are not hiring us at those outlets now on the digital side. And I just believe calling them to Capitol Hill and forcing them to reveal their numbers. And these are publicly traded companies. I know Congressman Gregory Meeks has a bill that will call for publicly traded companies to reveal their sort of top level executives. We've called for a civil rights audit of CNN. There are other companies here we're looking at as well. And you're right, they must show their numbers and not just, oh, here are our total black numbers. No, who are the executives? Who are the people next in line? Who are the people next in line? Because if we don't have power in terms of controlling the narrative, then all we're simply doing is asking somebody else for permission to tell our story.
It's absolutely correct. And, you know, Congresswoman Shirley Chisholm said, if you don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair, right? And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to demand, and you're absolutely right, it's about decision makers. Look, it's about people in key positions and those executive positions that can be involved in the decision-making process. And so, you know, I'll start or end where I kind of begun, is that we have an obligation working with people like you and people who are interested in this particular subject. Like I said, the dinner will kick off tonight, and then we'll do a summit tomorrow where we're looking at how to increase opportunities, looking through and analyzing those numbers and how we can better hold people accountable, because this issue is not going away, and neither are we.
Well, again, whatever help that I can offer, I'm certainly am there. Again, I would love, just like that was that reparations hearing, that discussion, I would love for one of these congressional committees to call network presidents, to call top newspapers, to call the magazine industry, which is woeful, to call those leaders. And not only that, and the last one here, Congresswoman, I know you have to go, the advertising industry. Let me tell you something right now, Congresswoman. What we're now seeing, black ad agencies are dying on the vine, because what used to be multicultural marketing has now been taken over. Now is the mainstream. And when you look in these ad agencies, you have very few African Americans in leadership positions. And I can tell you personally, black media is having a very difficult time being able to get those dollars, because there are people who have no clue who we are, who don't know what we do. And they're the ones who are determining where those dollars are spent. And so we're talking about billions upon billions of dollars that are available, that are being spent, that we're getting frozen out of. And I just think that putting that lens, shining that light on them is critically important, because, look, we're 24 years away from becoming a nation, majority people of color. And if minority media outlets, black, Latino, and others, are getting left out in the cold, which we are, then it's going to be hard for us to be able to pay staff to tell our own story if we can't afford to do it.
One of the panels that we're going to have tomorrow at the summit deals strictly with advertisement. And as I said, the media industry makes up 20% of the economy. And so you're absolutely correct. There are not only opportunities that are being missed, but millions of dollars that are being missed by persons who are very talented in this field, but they're, have missed opportunities. So we're excited about tomorrow, but tomorrow is really about developing best practices and coming out of that summit tomorrow with an action plan that we will put in place.
Well, again, I wish I could be there, but certainly count me in terms of working with this. Like I said last week, I'm running unopposed for Vice President Digital. And so to CNN's Jeff Zucker and the rest of these media companies, I ain't going anywhere on the board of NABJ. And we're going to make sure we're going to keep pushing and holding these folks accountable to ensure we don't get left out. Congresswoman, thanks a lot.
so much.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. MarijuanaStock.org is another great investment opportunity. If you were lucky enough to invest in their last crowdfunding campaign, you, of course, now know that those folks are invested in a publicly traded company. They raised a ton of money in a few months investing in legal marijuana farms. Now, of course, they have a new investment opportunity, which is as good or if not even better. I'm talking about industrial hemp CBD. For those who don't know, the hemp plant is the cousin to marijuana with a much higher concentration of CBD, which means hemp CBD gives you all the medical benefits of marijuana without getting you high. Now, until recently, hemp farming was practically illegal in the U.S. and heavily regulated by the DEA. However, the 2018 Farm Bill changed all of that, making it legal to grow hemp CBD in the U.S. and creating one of the largest commodities worldwide. They need land to grow all the plants, which makes for an incredible investment opportunity. And that's where our good friends at 420 Real Estate come in. Their business model is real simple. They buy land that supports hemp CBD grow operations and lease it to high-paying tenants. That's right, they are hemp CBD landlords. And you can get in on the action. You can invest in the crowdfunding campaign for as little as $200 up to $10,000. Like I said, you may not want to miss out on this opportunity. Go to marijuanastock.org. That's marijuanastock.org to get the game and to do it now. Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.